Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to, really unpack those fascinating stories and pull out the insights you can use.
Glad to be here.
So today, we're looking at this image. It's almost burned into our collective memory, isn't it?
Yeah.
The human grandmaster, Garry Kasparov, sitting across the board from, well, from a machine.
Yeah, it's incredibly iconic, and it sparks so many thoughts, right? About what humans can do, what machines can do, and maybe what thinking even is.
Exactly. It's way more than just chess.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, chess was the perfect stage, you could say.
Hmm?
High stakes, clear rule. But Kasparov's experiences, they were really this deep dive into, well, human cognition, how machines were getting smarter, and honestly, a really early peek at how we'd end up interacting with AI.
A preview of our future, basically.
You got it. The feeling around those matches, it felt heavier than just winning or losing a game. It felt like a contest over the definition of intelligence itself.
Right. So our mission today really is to pull out the key takeaways from Garry Kasparov's book, Deep Thinking. It's fantastic.
It really is.
We're not just going to list facts. We want to distill the really important lessons from his, well, decades fighting these computers and what he learned about us and technology. Think of this as like a guide to understanding how you interact with AI right now, packed with stuff you might not expect.
And we're lucky because we're using Kasparov's own words, his memories. This isn't secondhand stuff. It's direct from the guy who was right there, on the front lines of this unique human-machine battle.
His personal story gives us this incredible window, doesn't it?
An unparalleled view. It helps us understand what AI means for all of us, really.
Okay, so to really get the impact of Kasparov versus Deep Blue, we kind of have to rewind, right? Go back to where it started for him. 1985. Picture this. Kasparov's 22, super confident, maybe a little cocky, almost the world champ.
Right on the cusp, yeah.
Yeah.
Fearless.
And he takes on not one, but four top chess computers at the same time. A simultaneous exhibition. And the organizer actually warned him, said something like, these machines won't get tired, they won't resign just because they feel down like a human might. They play to the absolute end.
A different kind of opponent, for sure. Relentless.
Totally. But Kasparov, full of that youthful confidence, he doesn't just win, he crushes them. 32 games to 0, perfect score.
Wow. 32-0.
Yeah, so that early win, it really shows you the kind of opponent he was dealing with. Tireless, relentless. It kind of sets the stage for, well, everything that followed.
It's a great starting point, and you have to understand the historical context here. Even way before the tech was really there, the idea of a chess machine, it was like the holy grail for AI research.
Really? That far back?
Oh, yeah. Think Alan Turing, the famous code breaker.
Sure, Bletchley Park.
Right. Back in 1952, he actually worked out a chess algorithm on paper. He acted as the computer's processor himself, shuffling slips of paper around.
Oh.
Yes. And this paper machine, it actually played a surprisingly decent game. It just shows how central chess was right from the beginning as a testbed for machine intelligence. It was like they were trying to pass a sort of chess Turing test. Could a machine play like a human?
A chess Turing test. I like that. It connects to that famous automaton, the Turk, doesn't it?
Ah, the Turk. Yeah.
This machine from the 18th century toured Europe, beat everyone, supposedly.
Supposedly, yeah.
Only it turned out there was a human chess master hidden inside. It's almost like a fable about AI or something.
It really is a fantastic hoax. And kind of ironic now, isn't it?
How so?
Well, think about modern chess cheating. Sometimes people use super strong computer programs hidden away, maybe with Bluetooth earpieces or phones stashed in the bathroom. It's like the Turk. In reverse, the human is outside, using the machine hidden inside the process.
That's a great point. So, okay, beyond just the challenge, why did Kasparov really embrace playing these machines? It's like a huge risk.
It was a risk, definitely. But his reasons were, well, layered. It wasn't just about the intellectual fight. He saw a massive chance to promote chess globally.
Broaden the appeal.
Exactly. Get it beyond just the Cold War narrative of, say, Fischer-Spassky or even his own big matches against Karpov. The machine angle, it could attract totally different sponsors, tech companies.
Like Intel. Did they get involved?
Precisely. Intel stepped in, sponsored a Grand Prix series, so it was strategic, using the tech angle to bring money and attention to chess. Very smart, actually.
Okay, let's jump forward then.
Yeah.
12 years. Things have escalated.
Yeah.
1997.
The big one.
Yeah. Kasparov isn't facing a bunch of computers now. It's one machine. IBM's Deep Blue, a $10 million supercomputer.
Custom built just for this.
And this is the rematch. The anticipation was just off the charts. It became probably the most famous human versus machine contest ever.
No question, the media went nuts.
I remember those headlines.
No.
Newsweek had The Brain's Last Stand on the cover. People were comparing it to the moon landing, which, okay, maybe a bit much.
A little hyperbolic, perhaps. But it shows the mood, right? The cultural significance people attach to it. This felt like a defining moment.
So how much did all that pressure, that hype, weigh on Kasparov going into that rematch?
Oh, immensely. You can't overstate it. And his reaction after the match, especially the loss, it tells you so much about what it takes to be a champion, you know?
How so?
Well, he's very honest about it. He says flat out he wasn't a gracious loser. He actually believes being a gracious loser is basically incompatible with being a top champion. You need that fire. Interesting take.
Yeah. And he felt IBM hadn't played straight. He said they shortchanged the world, really. He talked about questionable behavior that fed his suspicious human mind, as he put it.
Suspicious how?
We'll get into that. But looking back years later for the book, he said re-examining it all was difficult, painful even, but also revealing and rewarding. He felt he finally found the truth at the heart of Deep Blue.
So that need for truth, even when it's tough, that drove him. Absolutely. His teacher, Mikhail Botvinnik, another world champion, always pushed that. Seek the truth, understand. It's a core part of his approach.
And the run-up to the 97 match, it sounds like things got pretty tense with IBM.
Yeah, Kasparov describes a real shift. Before the first match in 96, which Kasparov won, IBM was apparently friendly and open, but for the rematch, it turned into obstruction and hostility.
Obstruction like how?
The big thing was access to Deep Blue's games. Kasparov's team asked to see recent training games the machine had played. Pretty standard stuff in top-level chess prep. You share games.
Okay, makes sense.
IBM just said no, flatly refused, said there weren't any games and none would be forthcoming.
But wait, didn't you say other grandmasters had played against it?
Exactly. Kasparov's team knew that. They knew IBM had been testing Deep Blue against other strong players. Kasparov even offered his own training games in exchange. IBM just never replied.
So Deep Blue was basically a complete mystery going into Game 1, a black box.
Totally. And that lack of transparency, it just fueled all the controversy later, especially around this idea of human intervention.
Ah, right. The idea that maybe humans were secretly helping the machine during the games.
Well, some intervention was allowed by the rules, like fixing bugs, restarting the machine if it crashed, maybe tweaking its opening database between games. That was okay.
But Kasparov suspected more.
He did. After that shocking loss in Game 2, where he resigned in a position that analysis later showed was actually drawn, he made that famous hand of God comment.
Referencing Maradona's handball goal.
Exactly. Implying some kind of hidden, illicit help for Deep Blue. And his suspicions weren't entirely unfounded, it turned out.
Oh, what came out later?
It was revealed that IBM had actually hired Russian-speaking security staff specifically to listen in on Kasparov's team's private conversations in their hotel suite.
Get out! Seriously. Spying.
Seriously. It really showed, as Kasparov put it, the lengths IBM went to in order to gain any competitive advantage. It sort of validated his suspicious human mind, didn't it? It shows how incredibly high the stakes felt for IBM, too.
Wow. Okay, that changes the picture quite a bit. So let's shift from the drama to the actual, thinking process.
Yeah.
Chess as this touchstone of the intellect.
Right.
Kasparov, being a champion, obviously got called a genius all the time.
Yeah.
But he kind of pushes back against that, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He's pretty clear that being great at chess doesn't automatically mean you have some stratospheric general IQ or that all top players are geniuses in other fields. He makes a great point about blindfold chess.
Playing without seeing the board.
Yeah. Playing, say, 2 blindfold games at once used to be seen as this incredible feat, like proof of superhuman intellect, a phenomenon.
I can barely play one game looking at the board.
Right. But Kasparov says now it's easily in range of any competent player with a little practice. It shows how once we understand how a skill works, it becomes less mysterious, less like magic.
So how does human chess thinking differ from a machine's?
Fundamentally different. Humans rely hugely on intuition, which isn't magic. It's built up from recognizing thousands, millions of patterns over time. Psychologists call it chunking.
Okay.
Your brain groups positions, threats, ideas into familiar chunks. So a master doesn't see 64 squares. They see structures, attacking formations, weaknesses, almost instantly. We also visualize, but not like a photo, more like a mental map.
Abstract.
Exactly. And critically, we deal with stress, getting tired, emotions. Machines feel none of that. Kasparov tells this amazing story about Mikhail Tal, another brilliant attacking player.
Magician from Riga.
That's him. Tal was thinking about a complex night sacrifice, and his mind apparently just wandered off to thinking about, quote, how you would drag a hippopotamus out of the marsh.
A hippopotamus? Seriously.
Seriously. Kasparov uses it to illustrate the undisciplined wanderings of the human mind. Sometimes those weird detours can actually spark creative solutions. Humans also get practical chances, making a move that's not objectively the best but might really confuse a human opponent. Machines don't think like that at all.
So what do machines do? Just calculate?
Pretty much. Pure, unadulterated brute force calculation, checking billions, literally billions of possible positions every second.
Mind-boggling.
It is. Early machines, there was a trade-off. You could have faster ones that were kind of dumber strategically or slower ones that were smarter with better evaluation functions. But none of them understood strategy, the why behind a move, or psychological tricks.
They just see the numbers.
Exactly. Their logic is cold. Kasparov gives the example of avoiding checkmate. A machine might make a really weird-looking move, like sacrificing a piece for no apparent reason, because that weird move might delay checkmate until move 10, whereas a more human-looking, perhaps tricky move would have allowed checkmate on move 9. For the machine, 10 is simply better than 9. It doesn't care about style or confusing the opponent. It just picks the mathematically best path it can find within its search.
Which led to this thing called the horizon effect, right?
Ah, yes, the horizon effect. Crucial in the earlier days. The machines could only calculate so many moves deep that was their horizon.
So they couldn't see threats beyond that point.
Correct. Strong human players figured this out. They could build up a strategic attack slowly, positionally, keeping the main threat just beyond the machine's calculation horizon.
Thank you.
Very. The machine, unable to see the long-term danger, would just kind of shuffle pieces around, thinking everything was fine, while the humans slowly tighten the screws. Then bang! The threat crosses the horizon, but it's too late.
A classic human strategy versus machine tactics battle.
Exactly. But Kasparov also talks about his own struggles, adapting. He calls it the gravity of past success.
Meaning his own victories held him back.
In a way, yes. After being the best prepared player for so long, relying on his methods, he realized he'd become more rigid and unable to change. When computers became powerful preparation tools, using databases and engines to find new ideas, he was initially slow to adapt.
He resisted the new tech.
He didn't fully embrace its potential at first. It's a really common thing, isn't it? You see it in business all the time. Market leaders get comfortable, they resist the disruption.
And then they get overtaken, yeah. It's a very human problem.
Very human.
Yeah.
And that resistance, that fear of change, it plays out on a much bigger societal stage when we talk about automation and jobs.
Right, the whole man versus machine narrative. Kasparov brings up John Henry, the steel driving man.
The ultimate legend of that conflict. And historically, automation often hit blue-collar jobs first. Kasparov uses the example of elevator operators.
I remember reading about that. Used to be a common job.
Totally. In 1920, their union had like 17,000 members. But then, by the 50s, automatic push-button elevators started taking over.
And people were probably nervous about them, right?
Yep.
No operator.
Absolutely. Kasparov points out the worries back then sound a lot like the worries we hear today about driverless cars. Safety, reliability, job losses. It shows this cycle. Automation arrives, there's fear, then eventually acceptance and adaptation.
But something feels different now, doesn't it?
It does. The big shift Kasparov highlights is that automation isn't just hitting factory floors or elevators anymore. It's impacting white-collared, the college graduates, the decision makers.
Knowledge workers.
Exactly. Think call center staff in India being replaced by AI chatbots. Factory workers in China being replaced by robots faster than anywhere else. And the challenge for people losing those jobs is huge.
Because just retraining isn't always the answer.
Right. Being told to retrain for the information age is tough when the skills you retrain for might also become obsolete pretty quickly. Kasparov says there's no going back to old jobs, only forward. It's a massive challenge for society, for education, for workers.
Which connects to this idea of a Sputnik moment.
Yeah, that historical analogy. When the Soviets launched Sputnik in '57, it shocked the U.S.
Right. Spurred massive investment in science, tech, education.
Yeah.
led to NASA, the Internet's precursor.
Exactly. A huge, focused national response. But Kasparov points out that later potential Sputnik moments, maybe the OPEC oil crisis, the rise of Japanese manufacturing, or even China's advancements in AI and education, now they haven't always triggered that same kind of unified, massive response in the West.
So the concern is, are we losing that ability to react, to innovate collectively when challenged?
That's the worry he raises. Our complacency or maybe overregulation holding back the kind of innovation needed. It's a provocative question.
And alongside automation, there's this massive issue of data and privacy.
Oh, huge. The datafication of everything. Our lives, our clicks, our preferences, all turn into data points.
So companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon, they know us better than we know ourselves.
Kasparov suggests they might already know more about you than you know about yourself, which is a startling thought. And this trade-off, utility versus privacy, he calls it a main battlefield of the AI revolution.
We get convenient services, but we give up our data.
Exactly. And Kasparov, coming from Russia, the country that kind of inspired Orwell's 1984, he has a strong take on this. He stresses the need for watching the watchers.
Meaning transparency from the companies collecting the data.
Precisely. He basically says, look, privacy as we knew it is dying. So if that's the case, then transparency must increase dramatically. We need to know how our data is being used, by whom, for what. It's a fundamental power balance issue.
It really is. And speaking of how our minds work, or sometimes don't work so well, Kasparov talks about human irrationality.
Yeah, he brings in the work of people like Kahneman and Tversky, the behavioral economics pioneers.
And the Monte Carlo fallacy.
Right, the gambler's fallacy. You're at the roulette wheel, it's landed on black 20 times in a row. Your gut screams the next one has to be red.
But the odds are still 50-50, basically. The wheel has no memory.
Exactly. Our intuition fools us. We're predictably irrational, as Dan Ariely titled his book. We fall for cognitive biases all the time, like the anchoring effect.
Where the first number you hear sticks in your head and influences your judgment.
Yep. Even if it's totally irrelevant, our thinking is easily swayed.
So is the idea that machines, being purely rational, can help us overcome these biases?
That's a key part of the potential, yes. Machines can offer objective oversight. They don't have gut feelings or fall for fallacies. They just show the data, the probabilities.
So they can hold up a mirror to our own flawed thinking.
Exactly. And show us how idiosyncratic and easily influenced our thinking can be. Confronting us with that unbiased analysis can help us break lazy cognitive habits.
That's right.
It's not about machines replacing our judgment, but maybe augmenting it, making it better.
Okay, so that leads perfectly into the next big idea. Humans plus machines. Collaboration, not just competition.
This is where Kasparov was really ahead of the curve. He started exploring this idea he called advanced chess or consultation chess, teams of humans working with computer partners.
So moving beyond man versus machine.
Precisely. And the results were fascinating, maybe even counterintuitive.
Tell me about that 2005 freestyle chess event.
Right. So this was an online tournament where anyone could compete, humans alone, computers alone, or human-computer teams. And the winners, not a grandmaster with a supercomputer.
Go on.
It was actually a team of relatively amateur players using 3 regular off-the-shelf computers simultaneously. They beat the GMs with the single high-end machines, and they beat the computers playing alone.
Wow.
It led to what people now call Kasparov's law. His conclusion was basically this. A weak human plus machine plus better process was superior to a strong computer alone. And even more remarkably, it was superior to a strong human plus machine plus inferior process.
So the key wasn't just the human strength or the machine's power. It was how effectively they worked together.
Right.
The process.
Exactly. The synergy, the process of collaboration was the deciding factor. How well did the human know how to use the machine's strengths, guide its analysis, and integrate its suggestions? That trumped raw playing ability or raw computing power alone.
That has huge implications beyond chess, obviously.
Massive, for almost any field you can think of.
And at the same time, computers were also changing chess itself, making it more accessible.
Hugely. Programs like ChessBase, which is a massive database of games, and playing engines like Fritz, combined with the internet, suddenly top-level training resources were available to anyone, anywhere.
You didn't need to live in Moscow or New York anymore.
Nope. And you saw this incredible boom in young grandmasters coming from places with almost no prior top-level chess tradition. India, China, Vietnam.
Magnus Carlsen, the current world champ, he grew up entirely in this computer era.
Yeah. Born in 1990, He's never known a time when the best computers weren't stronger than any human. Yet, ironically, his style is often described as very human intuitive, positional, understanding the nuances. The computers didn't make him play like a machine, they gave him a new landscape to explore.
But Kasparov also warns about a potential downside to relying too much on these tools.
He does. He sees a risk, especially with younger players who've only known powerful engines. They might just memorize computer-generated opening lines.
Without really understanding why the moves are good.
Exactly. Blindly following the database or the engine's top choice. The problem comes when the opponent plays something unexpected, something not in the book. If you don't understand the underlying strategy, you're lost.
Because the machine tells you the best move, but maybe not the most testing move for a human.
Right. The computer assumes optimal play from both sides. It doesn't think, what move will make my human opponent uncomfortable or pose difficult practical problems? Kasparov argues that real innovation often comes from digging deeper, questioning established lines, finding new ideas within the known theory, not just accepting the engine's first suggestion. The machine is a tool for exploration, not a replacement for deep thought.
Which kind of brings us to that idea of the AI effect.
Ah, yes. The moving goalposts.
Explain that.
It's the observation that, historically, whatever tasks machines learn to do, we tend to then decide that wasn't true intelligence after all.
Like, okay, it can play chess, but that's just calculation, not real thinking.
Precisely. Or, okay, it can translate languages, but it doesn't understand them. As soon as AI conquers a benchmark, we redefine intelligence to be whatever it can't do yet. It forces us to keep asking what makes human intelligence special.
So, wrapping this all up, Kasparov's main message isn't doom and gloom about machines taking over.
Not at all. It's actually quite optimistic, but also challenging. He believes the future isn't humans versus machines, it's humans with machines.
Augmented intelligence.
Yes. And he stresses that our role as humans is to constantly keep creating new tasks, new missions, new industries that even we don't know how to do ourselves yet. Technology's great power is that it removes difficulty, it makes things easier, more certain.
So our job is to seek out the difficult and uncertain.
That's the core idea. We need to keep pushing frontiers, asking new questions, setting ambitious goals that require human creativity, ingenuity, and maybe a bit of that hippopotamus-style thinking.
Okay, so let's recap this journey. We went from Kasparov's early showdowns, the intensity of the Deep Blue maps,
Your controversies, the spying.
to exploring how humans and machines actually think differently, the impact on jobs, society, privacy.
And finally landing on this idea of collaboration, of humans plus machines.
It really feels like chess was the perfect laboratory, didn't it? A testing ground for everything we're grappling with now regarding AI.
An incredibly powerful one. And Kasparov leaves us with this final thought that really sticks with you. He says, looking back, this whole era of intense human-machine competition, it's just going to be a tiny dot on the historical timeline.
Meaning the collaboration phase is the much bigger story.
That seems to be the implication. He says the real question isn't if we can stop technology. We can't, and probably shouldn't want to. The crucial question is how we choose to respond.
Do we embrace it or resist it?
Exactly. Will we actively engage, try to shape the future and set the terms of our relationship with new technology? Or will we kind of sit back and let others force the terms on us?
That feels like a direct challenge to all of us.
It really does.
So, as you, our listener, think about your own relationship with technology, your smartphone, the algorithms feeding you news, the AI tools maybe starting to enter your workplace, think about that question. How are you engaging? And what does it mean for you to, as Kasparov might put it, think bigger and deeper in a world where machines are getting smarter every day? How will you be an active participant in shaping what comes next?